So I'm just thinking now. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this thing to shut up with the alerts and stuff. I'm thinking now that of talking about like jobs, our lives, like the way we're taught to get by, and that we're told they call it adulting, but it's ridiculous and intolerable, and I don't understand how people put up with it. I mean, I kind of do, I guess. That's just there's a reason things are like this. Like what we tolerate is what will be done to us. You know, if you so long as there are people that are willing to go out and like work for next to nothing or free, will never be paid a decent wage. So long as you're willing to sell your life and your time for money and for shit money, this will continue to go on. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I haven't eaten in a while. I grabbed a burrito and it's a little too hot, so. Anyways, so. I mean, it's screwed up. We as a civilization, as a society, are in a situation that is completely unnecessary for us to be in. And we're in it because nobody seems to notice or care that we're in it. If more people realized, and more people tried, work collectively to try to change this situation, then maybe something could be done about it. What was that speech again? I reminded of the speech again from the movie My Dinner with Andre, where he's like, he said like something about New York City, like that it was the new model for the new concentration camp, where the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they built. They built their own prison, so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they're unable to see themselves, able to see it as a prison, or to ever escape. Like, it's like we're living in that. Like, that's literally. It's like we're on a slave plantation where the other slaves, like if you try to run away from the plantation, the other slaves will get on a horse, chase you down, and throw a rope around you, and drag you back to the plantation and whip you in front of the master. Like, that's basically how we're living. Like, that's, you know, if you speak up of revolting, they'll boo and hiss at you and call you names and insult you and make fun of you. If we try to speak of escape or speak of freedom and insist that we're already free and that there's nothing to escape. Alright. Okay. Damn it. No man is more hopelessly enslaved than one who believes himself to be free. Basically, that's. I don't know, man. It's just. How do you not see this? I feel like I'm getting distracted here from what was the point of the video, right? Jobs. The job market. The financial system. The thing that keeps us enslaved. The thing that we sell ourselves to for basically, or that our parents sell us into. It's kind of that way. I mean, they were sold into. It's like we're living in a society where, I don't know, our grandparents or our great-great-grandparents or something basically sold their children into indentured servitude or something. And then those people have kids and they do the same, and just goes on and on, generation after generation after generation. So that we're like, our species is like forever enslaved, basically. That's what it's like. That's what it seems like. I mean, the purpose of work is to create something, and once something is already created, you don't have to keep building it. You don't have to keep tearing it down and building it over and over again. You know, if you build a house, now you have a house to live in, and you can live in that house. You plant a garden, you've got your garden planted. The only thing you have to do is keep it watered and wait till harvest, and then you have to harvest it, and then you have to try to preserve it so you can eat. In nature, in a normal world, you don't go out and, till up the soil and plant a field of crops and then go back out the next day, and, rip the crops out of the ground and fucking start over from scratch. That seems like that's what we're doing as a society. It's like everything has already been built enough for everyone for many, 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 many generations. There'd be great abundance for everyone for many, many generations from all the things that have already been built. But we just keep going out every day, doing this shit we don't want to do, to get money, to pay bills, to pay people over and over and over, forever and ever, and we never own anything. We have to keep paying people that demand money from us because, rules were passed by people who just decided that we owe them money and we have to have this thing, we have to pay for this, you have to have insurance, you have to have, you have to renew your tags. Oh, is your license expired? You have to pay for a new one. Oh, you have to pay rent here. Oh, yes, I know you've been living there for 10 years and you've paid fucking, like $120,000 to us so far. But you don't own your apartment. That's ours. Fuck you, pay me. Or get out. That's the system we live in. We're getting robbed blind, unfairly screwed over in every damn way. We're enslaved. Fully and truly enslaved. But I think that, and even though the terms, I don't know, that's a whole other thing I could get into, like slavery in terms of like the history of it. And what I see are like major major misunderstandings about history and what we're told about it and stuff. We don't realize that, like, most of us, the majority of people on Earth, are slaves from a long line of many generations of slaves, basically. Some of us may have came from noble birth at some point, but sometime long time ago, one of our ancestors sold sold their children or whatever into fucking indenture servitude, and we've just been stuck in that cycle fucking ever since, forever and ever, basically. It's like the child who's, beat by the boy whose father beats him, grows up and has kids and beats his kids, and then those kids grow up and they beat their kids, and it just goes on and on. That's the kind of what we seem to be stuck in, this like endless cycle of fucking doing the wrong thing, and of just calling fucking evil good and good evil and so on, calling the wrong thing right. People have this pride in their work ethic, in their hustle for the money. It's like the whole fucking... It's like seems to be the most important thing to people. This dude Mark Passio was talking about like relationships with women and stuff. And he brought up this point, he said, what is the first question if you, upon meeting a woman for the first time and you're trying to, get involved with, what is ultimately the first question she will ask you, right? And it's not just women, it's like everyone. Anyone you're trying to get to know you, the first thing they're going to ask you, what do you do for a living? What do you do to earn money? What is your job? That has become our identity. And without that, without some respectable title or hustle that we do to make money, everybody looks at us like we're not even a person. Like we're not if you're not doing that, it's like you're a non-person and nobody respects you. Nobody wants to know anything that you have to say or that Like, it doesn't matter. You could be the fucking smartest fucker in the world or whatever. If you don't have some fancy job title or something, nobody gives a shit about anything you have to say. Like, that's just the way of the world, right? Because nobody respects you. It's like you're not even a person basically in people's eyes. It's all about your position in this like hierarchy that is entirely based around like servitude and the acquisition of money and material fucking, you know what I mean? It's just that, it's that. I mean, for the most part, at least down in like in the lower classes, that's the way it is anyways. The super upper class people, if somebody asks them what they do for a living and they say, I just sit around, I just mainly go on cruises on my yacht, I don't really do anything, I just inherited it, I'm a fucking, I inherited it from, generational wealth, it's quite nice. They'll be like, oh, that's cool. And if somebody said they had a job, then the people would look at them like they're a fucking, high society people, man. They're really high society, like super wealthy, generational wealth people. If you told them you had a job or something, they would look at you like you're, beneath them, basically. That's the way they would look at you. But the way that the people who work these jobs look at you, which is the majority of people, the way that they look at you, if you don't fucking have a job or something, it's like you're just a fucking worthless piece of shit. and nothing you say amounts to anything, and your life is meaningless and pointless, and like you're the whole fucking purpose of life and existence is to do some, servile shit to make money. You gotta go make money and do all this crap that's stupid to fucking pay your bills, and pick yourself up by your bootstraps, get a job, boy. And that's just like the way it is in society. I mean, it's true. And people want to fit in, and they want the people to look up to them and be proud of them. They want to have a status in society and not be treated like garbage. I know I do, but it's like you have to sell your soul. You have to sell your life, sell your time, and basically sell your soul to fucking get ahead in this world in that way. At the very least, you're selling your time and your life, and having to abandon some of your principles probably to do things that you know are not right, or that you feel like your personal, your rights and your freedom as an individual are being infringed upon, and you're being treated unfairly, and you just have to grit your teeth and deal with it, and you just keep doing it and keep letting yourself be stepped on and walked over, and that's what you have to do in order to be a part of this society. And if you don't want to do that, then they look at you like you're trash. You just... People need to wake the fuck up, though. I'm sorry, but it's just we're living on this way of living that we have right now is coming to an end. It is unsustainable. The technology that exists now is to a level where there's no way. You got artificial intelligence, automated vehicles, touch screens to order food at restaurants, self-checkouts at the grocery store, self-serve gas. It's on and on and on, right? You got robots that can perform open-heart surgeries, artificial intelligence. You got, AI that can write books, or can write a movie, can write a song, can write a song, can make a song, can make a news broadcast and create take the content from suggestion, or make its own damn content and make it, they can make news stories, articles by the thousands, by the fucking millions in the blink of an eye, basically. We are human beings. I'm sorry to fucking tell you this. If you don't realize this, you need to wake the fuck up. We're coming to a time here with the creation of all this shit where we've reached a point where essentially humanity is obsolete. We've reached that point. I mean, do you ever see that Twilight Zone episode? I think it was Twilight Zone. It's like, imagine... There's a Twilight Zone episode called The Obsolete Man. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up and watch it. Their best episodes. Or it's like, Romney Wordsworth, you are here to hearing, you have been being obsolescence, And he says, I'm a librarian. So, what do you do? What is your job here? He says, I am a librarian. And they said, well, since we banned books, then, you are obsolete, right? But anyways, like, that's where we've come to that point where humanity on a massive scale, pretty much almost like as a whole, the bulk of humanity in terms of our ability or the necessity for us to be there in order for things to be mass produced, in order for tables to be waited and trucks to be driven and planes to be flown and surgeries to be performed and music to be wrote and books to be wrote and on and art to be made and so on and so forth. We're obsolete. Technology has surpassed us basically already. So it's not just that the job market, the labor market, in this way that people have this pride in their work and their work ethic and the job and stuff. I mean, that's kind of stupid and just brainwashed, Pavlovian conditioning to begin with. But that's not the point here. The point is that even if that was the point beyond that, is that we reach a point now where that is not, living this way is not even going to be an option, probably in the near future. We're pretty much already there. We've reached a point where artificial intelligence is disseminated all over the place. With ChatGPT, different artificial intelligence programs and softwares and stuff that are out there. Did you know our stock market has for quite some time? The stock market, like these big mega corporations in the stock market, and probably even a lot of political decisions and shit, have been being made. There's an artificial intelligence program called Aladdin that has ran the financial sector for a long time. Like, that's what's making decisions in this world, is a system that is cold, calculating, and doesn't give a shit about what's good for people. It's all it cares about, all it's programmed to care about is maximizing gains, maximizing profit. It doesn't care how many people end up homeless or dead, or how many people fucking starve to death or whatever, right? It doesn't care about that. All it cares about is, make this decision for the company, do this, execute this plan, that plan, in order to maximize profits, in order to maximize the money and power that the people who own this fucking shit have. That's what the fuck that's the world we're living in. We're living in a world where, like, not just the machines that in many instances are actually making the decisions at a higher level in these companies and in the stock market and in our government and so on, but that's true. It really is true. Like, we have basically like Skynet running the world, and the people fucking doing what they're told, and there's certain people at the top that are very wealthy that like programmed this shit to make themselves more money and power. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care about your fucking children. They could give not a single shit if your fucking grandkids are going to have a future All they care about is how much of your money they can put in their wallet, and how much of your children's future they can steal from them. You know, they'll shove their body in a fucking hole, and just to get them out of their fucking way so they can take the piece of the pie that's supposed to be theirs. Like, that's the kind of shit we're dealing with here. We're living in a world where we have to fucking collectively wake the fuck up and realize that this way of life that we've been living is a fucking lie, and it's not gonna work. The work ethic, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get a job, boy. This shit is not gonna work in this world that we live in. It may have worked for you in the past. I say to you that even if it did work for you in the past, it was wrong. You let so much of your life be stolen from you, doing shit that you should not have had to do in the first place. And that's what you want to pass on to future generations? You had to suffer, so they too must suffer. You had to suffer, therefore you want your grandchildren to have to suffer as well because you did? Because you feel like that's the only thing you've known is that form of suffering, and you don't know how to do things otherwise? You've got to think about this, you know? And that's irrelevant, because the time period we've come upon now is that it doesn't work anymore, hardly. It barely works now. And on into the future, it will simply not work for us anymore. It's a fucking failed system. The whole scheme of human labor in order to make money to pay bills and so on and so forth, you would own nothing and be happy. Like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You go to, work and work and work all day and have nothing at the end of the day, basically. It's getting to the point of, we're not all the way there yet. We kind of are. I mean, when you consider that we have fiat currency that isn't even valuable or anything in reality, but we're in a system of global slavery, a tyrannical system of slavery. And this financial system and our reliance upon money and our reliance on having to work to make that money is what causes the vast majority of the problems in our society. I mean, you don't believe me? Go look up this. There was this experiment that was done where they introduced a tokens as some sort of tokens as like a form of currency. They did this experiment where they got all these. It's like, I think it's called the monkey. You look it up. Look up monkey money experiment, right? These like researchers introduced money. Basically, they taught the monkeys that, like, they take these tokens, right? And they taught the monkeys basically to exchange these tokens for treats. Like, and they started to introduce choices so the monkey could give their monkey money to the researcher, and they could choose whether they wanted some grapes or a banana or whatever, right? And they'd have different choices like that, and they taught the monkeys how to do this, and the monkeys would run off with these fucking monkey tokens and go back into their pens,
and into their, into their enclosure, into their habitat there, and they started to use these tokens as a form of exchange amongst themselves, so that they could go back, to basically what the researchers had created, what was essentially like a store, right, for the monkeys to buy stuff with the monkey money, right? And when the monkeys got back to their enclosure, they started, exchanging these tokens, and suddenly there were, female monkeys that were prostituting themselves, and male monkeys that were pimping out female monkeys for monkey money, and there was, crime. There were monkeys robbing other monkeys to steal their monkey money, and there were, most of the money ended up in the hands of only, one or two or a few dominant monkeys, and the rest of them, ended up basically with nothing. That's what happened. Like, crime, prostitution, fucking all this, extreme, like, monkey poverty, like this, people in all the monkeys fighting with each other all the time. Like, that happened when they introduced this fucking monkey money, and the works. Like, that's what I mean. It works that way with monkeys. It works that way with people too. That's what this shit is. We're enslaved by money and the labor force that we have to go into to make the money, and all these bills and shit. And we can't go on like this. We cannot survive long into the future as a species if we allow things to continue on the way that they have been going, because whatever may have somehow worked and we managed to survive through it in the past, we're reaching a point now where it's going to be too fucked up. It's going to be too difficult, too impossible, and we're not going to be able to make it like this. We're going to have to break free. We're going to have to get out of this system, out of this society, and find a way to live outside of it, separate from it. Find a way to live without money. Find a way to live where we can, I don't know, grow a garden, and, hunt and live off the land, and find a way, find some space or time, hopefully, where we can have a level of freedom great enough to be able to form our own communities, and to be able to buy our land and do as we wish and as we please on that land, and not have these tyrants coming in, storming onto our land and telling us that we must have this permit, or that, that we're not zoned for that, or we're not allowed to live in our camper there, or we can't put up a yurt and live in it on, we need to freaking do whatever we have to do to survive, or we're going to fucking die. Like, we are going to die. I'm not just fucking, like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not exaggerating here. Like, that is how bad it is right now. We're in a situation where if more people don't wake the fuck up and realize that we cannot continue on the way that we have, for the way that we've been taught to live all our lives is, like, fucked up, and it's wrong, and this workforce shit, this labor force shit, this work ethic shit, this fucked up fiat fucking financial system inflating to the moon is not gonna fucking work. We've been managing to scrape by, struggle, and survive through this shit so far. We might be able to continue doing that for a little while, for I don't know how long. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 5 years. But it's not going to last much longer. It's not going to. The ability for us to get by and for this shit to continue to work for us to be able to continue to have our bills paid and live the way, the standard of, basic standard of living, it's just not going to be fucking possible.
what was it? Was it Thomas Jefferson or something that said this? He said something like, if we ever allow a central bank to control the issue of currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, our children will wake up homeless on the continent their forefathers conquered. This is the time that we are in now. That is the situation that we find ourselves in. As a collective society, that is our fate. If we do not change our ways and find new ways of doing things and find ways of escaping and getting out of this fucking system, and basically, like, another thing the guy said in that movie, he's like, he was talking about his wife. So yeah, me and Shakita, we've been talking about, like, we've really been feeling like, you know, like Jews in Germany in the early 1940s, like, just like get out, like, you know. But the problem is where to go, because it seems like the whole world is going the same direction, you know. It's like we've come to this point in human history where there's nowhere left to run to anymore. Throughout all of human history, there's been tyrannies, there's been tyrants and people, slave drivers, and people have, and you know, robber baron and shit like that. People that would move into a community and take it over and just lord over everybody, and people had to run away. People fled, you know, Britain to try to get away, and fought the Revolutionary War to try to get away from taxation and so on, you know, from being robbed and beaten down and fucking pushed around. And people fought, and people fucking spread out, and like the same kind of shit kept happening and happening. And it's still going on. It's just gotten to a point now where it's so bad, and it's like there's nowhere. It feels like there's nowhere left to run to anymore. We have to wake up. Not just like me. I mean, I don't know what the fuck to do by myself. I find myself stuck in this system, and I'm not sure what to do. It seems like the only option that I can see right now is to go try to be homeless. But we're living in a time where it can be very dangerous to go be homeless, even more so than usual, because the world is just going crazy, for one thing, and you've got like the government trying to make, you know, what I don't remember. I should look into exactly what happened with the Supreme Court ruling. But basically, if you become homeless, it's like you don't have any rights. The government treats you like you don't have any rights. Like your constitutional rights are not protected. They like you're basically we're in a world where like people can't afford to live, but at the same time, you know, the government and a lot of the like nastier people support this kind of treatment. Treats people who are homeless like they don't even have a right to take a nap. You don't even have a right to sleep. You try to fall asleep in your car somewhere, someone will come bang on your window or march past and make a bunch of noise, and fucking people harass you and torment you. You try to go sleep out in the woods, some, you know, cops will come out there and fucking, you know, cut your tent up and steal your sleeping bag and throw it in the trash and tell you to get out of there, or give you a ticket, fines, and tell you you'll be arrested if you don't show up in court. They'll fucking, you know, arrest you for vagrancy and throw you in a fucking cage. Like, that's the world we live in now. And it's, so I don't know what the hell to do. Like, is there no fucking way out? Is there no way where we can find fucking freedom? Where we can get out of this evil fucking tyrannical fucking soul-sucking vampire fucking system that just bleeds us dry till the day we fucking die, and then picks our fucking bones clean? Like, it's literally like, it's like we're ruled by fucking vampires or something that just, like, you know, drain our blood a little bit at a time so to keep us alive,
and then they, make us go fucking like work in the mine all day to mine gold for them, and then we get back fucking tired from working the mine, and they like fucking drink our blood while we sleep or something, just a little bit here, a little bit there, enough to keep us alive, and so we're able to keep working, but they just keep slowly draining the life force energy out of us and draining the blood out of us, and until finally we're so sick and tired and worn out and beat up that we don't hardly have a leg to stand on anymore, and then they just fucking like finish us off. And but then afterwards it's like they're like, that's not good enough, now we got to get their fucking children, and we got to get their children's children and make them pay, and we've got to, we're gonna take their body and, harvest their organs and eat them, and fucking, take their skin and make fucking, make leather out of it, and we'll make soap out of their fat, and we'll fucking, we'll rip the flesh off their bones and fucking eat it, and when the down to the bones, we'll fucking make tools out of the bones and fucking eat the bones and make bone broth out of it. Like that's like the level of fucking darkness in this world. It seems to be like that level of fucking like parasitic vampirism against the fucking human species. You know. We live in a world with such disregard for human life that I shit you not. And this, at one point, I remember this story, hearing multiple stories like this. For as much as we're taught to like worship and adore the troops as heroes and everything, like many of them have just had their bodies thrown in a landfill, like trash, basically. Like that's, I'm not even kidding. Many soldiers' bodies had just been rounded up and fucking thrown in a heap of garbage, like dumped off at a dump with the trash, basically. Tossed in a trash compactor or something. Like that's the level of disregard for human life that there is in this world, man. The level of we're being robbed blind and enslaved and used and sucked dry of every last ounce of our fucking freedom, every last ounce of our energy and our life force. Made to serve some sort of evil force, an evil agenda, to sell ourselves to it and our entire lives and the lives of our children and our children's children to it. And these motherfuckers don't even have the decency to say thank you. Right? If anything, they'll bitch about, like, how dare you speak up fucking food, like it's just, we're in this situation that it's incomprehensible levels of evil. And if people can't wake the hell up to how screwed up things are and how this way that we've been living our lives is not going to work for us, then we will go extinct and perish from the earth forever. That is our fucking fate if people do not wake up and realize, and I mean fucking quickly, that this way of life, this having to struggle to pay bills and make money, that shit, if we don't collectively find a way to live free and get out of this crap, we're dead. Like, we are fucking dead. our children are dead. Our children's children and the children they could have had are fucking dead. If we do not wake the fuck up, if people do not wake the fuck up and see this and find a way out of this crap. It's like we're on the fucking Titanic. The ship has hit the fucking iceberg. She's sinking. There's fucking water on multiple decks. And people are just sitting around in suits smoking a pipe. Playing fucking violins and shit. Rearranging deck furniture. And we need to be fucking, you know, trying to find a life raft, basically. We need to be... And if there aren't any more life rafts, we need to start gathering furniture and building life rafts as quickly as possible. You know, getting all the extra, if there's any extra, like, life preservers, like, we need to be doing anything if we want to have a chance to even survive, to have a future for ourselves, for our children, for our children's children, for our very species. If we want to have a future where we exist, then we have to do it. We have to separate ourselves from this system, from this fucking machine. There comes a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You gotta put your body upon the gears and upon the levers and upon, you know, upon the whatever the fuck, right? And you've got to indicate to the people who own it, to the people who run it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all. It takes a mass of people waking up to, you know, the facts of the situation we're in, man. Are you a truck driver? What are you gonna do when they replace you with a fucking self-driving truck? Or some foreigner that'll work for fucking half a minimum wage, or maybe they'll do it for $1 an hour. Maybe they'll work for free because they're good little slaves and they've, you know? Right? Airline pilot, what are they going to do? What are they going to do when they just, the autopilot's good enough and they just fucking have the autopilot do everything? You don't even need to be there at all. Right? You're a writer. How are you going to compete with AI? An artist, how are you going to compete with AI? Right? On and on. Like, dude, seriously. Like, a surgeon, you know. What happens when the robots can perform surgery better than you can? Right? If they can't already. This is like everyone. Even police and military. What are you gonna do when a fucking robot comes in and takes your goddamn job? Right? You work at the grocery store? Look at a fucking grocery store. This is a perfect example of what I'm telling you. Like, I'm not full of shit here. This is happening right before our eyes. And I don't see it. Like, you're fucking blind if you can't see it. It's been happening slowly because they're just rolling things out slowly. One thing and then another little thing, you know. You walk in McDonald's and there's a fucking little robotic vacuum fucking vacuuming up the floor, sweeping the floor. That was somebody's job. You walk into fucking Taco Bell to try to order food. The person behind the counter they're just basically, you know, a decoration, because they're not going to take your order. They're going to be like, oh, we don't do that anymore. Use the screen. They want to get everyone, they want to get it, they're setting up society. You go to the gas station, the self-serve, everywhere. Like almost all the fucking jobs, if not all the fucking jobs, you can be replaced. And you will be replaced. That's the plan.
That's why they're fucking building all this shit. Because they don't need us, and they don't fucking want us. They want everything we own to be theirs. They want us to own nothing and eat the bugs. And be happy. You get me? Like, that's the situation we're in. And if we don't get the fuck out of this system and make ourselves separate from it and opposed to it, and at some point we may have to be, hopefully, hope that we have the damn strength to be able to, circle up the fucking wagons, basically, and be ready to stand up for ourselves against near impossible odds if they send their enforcers to try to push us out of whatever homes we've created. We're going to have to find a way to be able to do our damn best to make a home for ourselves, make a place for ourselves that's separate from this society, and to be willing to die on that hill to defend it. Because they will try to force us back into their system. If we do manage to find a way out of their system, they will do everything in their power to try to force us back into their system. We cannot let that happen. We have to get the fuck out of this shit, or we're dead. Like, there's no way we can continue. They will have us, if these fucking people that are running this world, these evil fucking things, creatures, reptilians, whatever the fuck they are, demons, I don't know. God damn. I mean, seriously, what the hell are they, right? If they have their way, like, it's worse than Orwell's quote, like, so much worse, so far beyond Orwell's quote, when he says, if you want a picture of the future, or imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever, like, it's like so much worse than that, like, beyond that, it's like, that's what they've got fucking, I mean, you don't believe me? You want to see some fucking shit? I'll fucking tell you about some shit you can go look up. You might not be able to find this shit on something like YouTube. Try like Odyssey or BitChute or something. Maybe you could find it on YouTube. I would be surprised. Here's a term to search for. Humans are programmable animals. Or just humans are programmable. Yeah. We're talking about, there's technology. Another thing you should watch if you haven't seen it, or if it's been a while since you've seen it, watch the movie Gamer. It's called Gamer. I think it's got like the dude from Dexter and I think like Russell Crowe or something in it. Or whatever the hell, guy that looks like him or whatever, anyways. Yeah, there's these two actors, I mix them up when they, like, there's this other guy that looks a lot like Russell Crowe, and I end up mixing them up a lot of the time. Just like there's this other actor that kind of looks like the guy who played Wolverine, and I mix those guys up too. Hugh Jackman, yeah. Anyways, so in that movie, he's like talking about this nanotech, the nanobot. Like, look this shit up. I'm not even kidding. We're heading into a future where if we don't get out of this system, if we don't get out of this civilization, like, besides the fucking impact of like the
the struggle, having to go be a slave working some bullshit job you fucking hate, or what, even if you love your fucking job, you need to get the fuck out of the city, get the fuck away from your job, and try to find a way to fucking survive out there with like separate from anything where there's cities. Like, this is fucking Babylon the Great, mother of harlots, you know, this is fucking Sodom and Gomorrah. You need to get the fuck out of here before this shit is burned to a cinder. Before we got fucking like fire and brimstone raining down on this bitch, dude. Like, this is fucked. We need to get out of here. You understand? Life or death, man. That's what it is. Like, it's coming to that. I don't want to be in Babylon when she burns. You know? I don't want to be sitting in fucking Sodom and Gomorrah when it's, you know, burnt to ashes or whatever. I don't want to be like, you know, one of those... was that, I don't want to be like one of those, like, people that's, like, encased in fucking stone, basically, look like a statue from Pompeii, you know what I mean? Like, that's basically... But I mean, it could be a lot worse than that. Imagine, like, being alive, just living this nightmare existence for fucking ever. Like, holy shit. I don't know how people can fucking tolerate the world the way it is now. How the hell, like, I don't know, they must have better drugs than I do. I guess. Alcohol isn't the best of them, really. They must have some fucking soma or some shit, you know? Double plus good, right? I mean, it's just like, oh my god. I don't think we're beyond the point of no return when it comes to, like, any hope you have of, like, trying to fix this thing. The system is broken. The machine, and even if you could fix the fucking machine and return it to, like, a more proper working order, why the fuck would you want to? Because it's been, even when it was in better working order, say 50 years ago, it was still fucked up. It was still wrong. You were still enslaved. You were still, you know, under fucking boot heel, basically. Like, we need to get away from this crap. Like, wake the fuck up or we're all going to die, basically. Like, we have to get out of here. We have to get out of here. This is, you know, incoming! You know, like, brace for impact! Like, this is serious shit. Like, when I talk about this shit, I'm not talking just to hear myself fucking speak here, man. I'm talking about some serious fucking shit, like life or death for our fucking, like, species, for our society, for our country, for all, like, we need to stop this shit. This shit needs to change. We gotta get out of here. If you want to try and talk about possible, like, temporary fucking patches for what's going on in this world now, a temporary fix that might postpone the inevitable fucking collapse of everything. The only thing I could think about there would be like universal basic income or something. But that universal basic income, you know, free housing for all or whatever. Like, I don't know. Or just getting rid of restrictions to and allowing fucking homeless people to build shelters and build homes for themselves and shit, you know? Giving out land, you know, stuff like that, right? But it's not gonna fucking. There's no fixing this shit, though, man. There's no fixing it. It's too fucking late. It's gone too far. The technology, the mad scientists have been allowed to roam free and make all this insane technology that there's no fucking coming back from this shit, dude. You don't build an army of Terminators and fucking activate Skynet and come back from it and think everything's gonna be fine. You know, it ain't happening, dude. I don't even know if like the powers that be that are behind all this shit would even be able to stop the momentum of the destruction that they've fucking created. Like even if you had fucking like, you know, even if like Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and the fucking Rothschilds and all those and the, you know, royal families and shit, even if they actually legitimately wanted to fix things and fix the society and the system and the world, and they were willing to like use all the resources to try their damnedest to fix things, I don't even know if they could fucking do it at this point, because things have gone so far and gotten so fucking bad that there may be just no coming back. Like, the only fucking thing we've got to get out of this system. Their system is fucked, and it. There's techno. I mean, if these fuckers have their way, and they've been having their way this whole fucking time, basically, then like we could be in for some straight up sci-fi shit, like human beings with nanobots in their bloodstream and in their brain, and computer chips or whatever, or nanobots in their brain that can remote control people and turn them into basically robots, like a robot slave force, where like humanity ceases to exist as a, you know, free independent thinking. I kind of already has, but I mean on a fucking on a serious, like literally mind controlled robot slave people. That is a distinct possibility. The technology is, you know, the technology exists, and the shit these people talk about. There's a speech this guy. There's this speech this guy, this like high level, high ranking fucking guy in like army. I think he's like army, you know, military intelligence, like army intelligence or officer or some shit. And he's talking to this whole fucking like class of guys in the military in fucking uniforms on base, and he's giving a speech about mind controlling people, about technologies that exist and how they've learned to be able to control people's minds and basically turn people into fucking robot. And then there's this like, you know, this wealthy like earth scientist guy who talks about it, Yuval Harari or whatever, talks about the same sort of thing. Like, this is this shit is real, man. Nanobots are fucking real. Uh, the fucking graphene and shit is real. Like, this shit can be controlled, like, electronically remote. I've seen videos of human beings and animals frozen in place. What did that? I've seen videos of people, like, glitch the fuck out. What did that? Like, it almost looks like a robot just having a, glitching or something, I mean, like, how are there videos of, like, huge crowds of people just frozen in place, not moving at all? How does that happen? You know? And that's like technological shit there. But I mean, there's a lot more work at play than just technology here, man. Do you ever watch, what was that guy, Darren Brown or something? Like a hypnotist and magician or something? There's this one video. He did all these videos with hypnotism or whatever, where he uses like hypnosis to trick people. Like, he'll walk into a store or something and just distract the person with hypnotic fucking suggestion, and he'll hand them like a fucking, just a regular slip of paper or a napkin or something, and they think that he handed them money. There's one where he walks into a shopping mall, and he's talking over the PA system for like 10-15 minutes or something, and then he just like snaps his, he just says the trigger word, and almost everybody in the shopping mall raises their hand at the same time. He just hypnotized the entire fucking shopping mall. Like, that's the level of suggestibility of people, They've done all kinds of experiments. Like, people are very programmable and and predictable, and can be programmed, and this is what's being done, and when you add to that, like, technological element that could have the ability to actually control human beings, like remote controlled people, you're talking about like some Borg shit. Like, that's literally but a more intelligent, sophisticated kind of Borg technology, where these things, potentially at some point would actually be capable of behaving as though they were normal human beings, so you wouldn't be able to tell that they were a fucking, mind controlled robot. Yeah. How fucking scary is that? Like, that. I know that. I realize how fucking crazy this shit sounds if you just fucking, instead of just automatically going, oh, that's just fucking, you're nuts, man. Look it up. Look up the things that I told you to look up. Look into it yourself. Here's another search term for you. Go Google this shit, or, although, use something other than Google though, right? Look up list of mind control patents, right? Go check those out. Go look them over. There's a lot of them. Yeah, there are. I mean, dude, that's the people who are conscious enough to comprehend what I'm saying here. We've got to find a way to get out of this system, out of this society, and to hopefully be able to protect ourselves if the worst comes to worst and people come and try and fucking force us back into the system or something, we have to find a way out of this system, out of this fucking machine, or basically we're fucking doomed, because this is like, I mean, it's like it's like we're in a world like it is. It's like if you're on the Titanic, say you've got your own raft or something, you're trying to offer other people like, hey, would you like to come with? And not only do they not want to join you on the raft to get away, they want to poke holes in your raft and tackle you to the ground and beat you and scream in your face and insult you and spit on you because you fucking and insist that it's nice here on the fucking Titanic, you know? It's like, yeah, it's gonna fucking sink to the bottom of the sea. Shut up, crazy conspiracy kook, you know? People need to wake up. Wake up. Wake up.